today in this interview series we have with us Professor and Dr. Vishal Wankhede. So I'm glad that you have given us time for this interview. And before starting this interview, I'd like to just introduce you. So presently, Dr. Wankhede is working as a principal in SNJB's SHHJB Polytechnic, Chandwad. He has previously worked as an approved professor in Electronics and Telecommunication Department of KBJN College of Engineering. Apart from it, he has also done some notable work, especially in electronics and communication. He has received a grant of rupees 378,000 from ISRO on wideband acquisition technique for QPSK decoder. Apart from it, he has also published 29 research papers in various international conferences and journals, including IEEE and Springer Brief. Sir has been invited as a speaker to present his work in IEEE's ISCI International Conference in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And he has also been honored as an Engineering Achievement Award by Institution of Engineers, Delhi in 2014. So nice to have you, sir, with us.
Thank you, Parth. Thank you.
So first of all, I'll start the interview with questions regarding your background and how you have been in education industry since so long. So, like, you have been a principal in SHHJB Polytechnic College and Polytechnic, and so I just wanted to ask you, like, what has been your philosophy of leadership, and how would you describe your leadership style?
Parth, actually, principal's role is very crucial in institutions because he is the administrator of academics, and the central focal point of any institution is a student. That's why principals should optimize and enrich the processes those are directly related to the students. So I always try to enrich the processes those are directly affecting the students and their knowledge. So as per institution is concerned, student is a primary stakeholder. Second stakeholder is a teacher. Third stakeholder is a non-teaching staff members. Fourth is a employer. And fifth is a parent of that student. So the role of a principal is to coordinate among all the stakeholders and try to enrich all the processes those are related to the academics in by taking the help of all teaching staff members and non-teaching staff members and the management members as well. So I always try to motivate all these stakeholders so that they can give more value addition when they are dealing with the students.
Okay. And sir, you have been in education industry since so long, and your professional career has been in education industry. So what are the key factors that keep you connected with the sector, and what made you enter into education sector, and what is your journey in this field? What has been your journey? Yeah.
Yes. Since 20 years, I'm in this education field. So what I observed that when I was studying in the engineering, so those days, the curriculum was very robust. It is not going to be changed since 10 to 15 years. But in current years, what I observed that there is a lot of change in the curriculum, and there is a huge speed to the technology, emerging technologies. So my interest in this education field is that I would like to update myself in every year. Every year new batch is coming, and I'm also learning from my students. Simultaneously, I'm learning from my staff members as well. So as a teacher, I must be a good student first. So when I become a good student, so I try to learn new technologies and new things those are going to come into the industry. So this is the prime factor which I would like to mention, that when you are a teacher in the education industry and especially in technical field, you should be updated with reference to the technology, and you are learning a lot of things. Also, in technical field, for example, Maharashtra State Board of Technical Education, after 3 to 5 years, they are going to change their curriculum, and they try to map their curriculum with reference to the industry demands. That's why the teacher should also be acquainted to the newer technologies, and he or she should learn the new technologies as well. That's why he must be updated his or her knowledge.
Okay, sir. And yeah, so like when you first came to when you first entered in this field, so what was your vision? And like when you first came to SHH JB Polytechnic, and how has it evolved over the time, and how far, like from the start when you came and you had that vision, so how far have you came along implementing that vision?
Right. Now, I must tell you that exactly 2 years back, I have joined this institution. 6th May 2019, I have joined this. Today is the 6th May 2021. So 2 years back when I have joined this institution, so this institution is basically a very older institution. 38 years back, this institution has been established. And the lot of staff members are quite senior than me. Hence, the curriculum and academic processes, administrative processes are quite stable in this institution. But when I came to this institution, I've observed that the institution hasn't faced the National Board of Accreditation. Accreditation has been formed by central government, by the AICTE, All India Council of Technical Education. So their aim is to impart an education in a qualitative manner, and they try to establish the processes in the institution in a best way. That's why accreditation is remaining as per this institution is concerned. So my first goal is to face the accreditation, and my second goal is to go for the autonomy, because very few polytechnic institutions in the Maharashtra state has an autonomy. But the primary factor to go for autonomy is a National Board of Accreditation. So I try to apply for that, the pre-qualifier for the MBA. Within these 2 years, I have changed a lot of practices. Those are related to the curriculum, those are related to the academics, related to the training and placement activities, related to the faculty development. So I have changed so many things. But what I observed that as this is the oldest institution in the terrain, there are a variety of the processes are already stable.
Okay.
So I have very less of scope.
Okay. Got it. But yeah, since you have been since 2 years, so your experience has been like you have evolved your implementation. Okay. And so a lot of industries have been affected by COVID, and education industry has been affected by COVID as well. So how is your institution affected by it, and what have you done to keep at pace with the other institutions, and providing student education, relevant education, so that they can adjust with the COVID scenario as well?
Right. COVID has affected a lot for education industry. Our teachers not acquainted with online education. They already used the conventional teaching methodologies that board, and they use some ICT based like a projector. They use PowerPoint presentations they have used. But because of this COVID, all our existing techniques are transformed into the online platforms. So what we have done, our all teaching staff members, they have created their own YouTube channels. Whatever the subjects allotted to them, they take the video shooting of their lecture and they upload it on their YouTube channel. Simultaneously, they have developed their blogs. On their blogs, they have uploaded the PDF files, PowerPoint presentations, and the link of the YouTube channels. So there is a huge transformation is been done in the COVID scenario. But I took this part as a positive way, in a positive way, uh, because this is also the demand of today's industry, education industry. Because
Absolutely.
before COVID, there were so many YouTube channels. Those are emphasis on the academics. So it is good opportunity for my staff members to get acquainted with the latest uh, happening in the education industry. So
Okay.
there is no,
Absolutely.
as if there is no much more struggle we have faced now. Our students are also happy with the online education, though it is not that much effective. This is my personal opinion. Though it is not that much effective, but though
Mhm.
the students are happy with the online teaching because they see the staff members. One student can see the staff member directly. He can ask the queries. He can write to the staff member. So this is also a good thing about the online.
Okay, okay. And this is for the students who want to apply for the college and the institution. So, what is the process to take admissions in Polytechnic? Can you brief us about that?
There is one URL is there which is
Mm-hmm.
been governed by the state government. That is
Mm-hmm.
dtmaharashtra.government.in.
Mm-hmm.
The eligibility for taking admission in the diploma is a SSC or
Mm-hmm.
10th pass students can take the admission. So CBSE 10th pass, ICSC board or SSC board. These three students, those have qualified 10th standard, they can take admission. So they have to visit dtmaharashtra.government.in website, and over there they can they can apply online. They can fill their personal information, they can fill their 10th marks information, they can fill their categories information, and it is a central process. So one central server is there, and merit list is going to be displayed after 21 days. So they can apply for their institution, and they can apply for their required course, for example mechanical engineering, civil engineering, likewise, and they can take the admission with respect to their merit. So
Okay.
this is a very simple process.
And are there any certificates, special certificates or normal certificates required to take admission, which students need to take?
Right, there are some common certificates are there, like 10th mark sheet is compulsory, and
Okay.
living certificate of school is compulsory for all the students. Besides
Okay.
this, if a student is belongs to the other backward class or OBC class, then he must produce the non-creamier certificate
Okay.
and caste certificate.
Okay.
For SC category, ST category students, non-creamier certificate is not necessary, but caste certificate and caste validity, these certificates are necessary.
Okay.
So only these certificates are required.
Okay, sir. And like talking about the institute, so like what type of projects are there that students are working on? Are there any specific projects you like to highlight?
My institution comes under the rural area, and most of the students belongs to the farmers family. So
Okay.
they prefer agricultural projects.
Okay.
Simultaneously, I emphasis on multidisciplinary projects, like mechanical engineering student can also work with the electronics, or computer engineering students can also work with the electronics, and they can work on the multidisciplinary projects.
Okay.
Also, we also try to work on the solar or wind energy kind of the projects.
Mm-hmm.
So with reference to the society, with reference to the local society's issue, we try to address their issues. So we try to take help of the society issues in our developing the projects of our third year students.
Okay.
So there are multiple projects are there. So I have only quoted few.
Okay. And since the competition in today's world is so high, so like how does the curriculum ensure that it is up to the mark and ensuring that the best practices of the industry are followed? Can you give some insights on that?
Right. Actually, as for Polytechnic is concerned, we adopt Maharashtra State Board of Technical Education's curriculum. So
Okay.
they have framed the curriculum, which is been governed by the state, Maharashtra state, and we follow that curriculum only. They have developed a curriculum in such a way that that curriculum should be should have all the features that is going to be utilized in an industry. For example, in the mechanical engineering, 4.0 technology is currently deployed. So
Yes,
that curriculum is in the mechanical engineering. As per electronics engineering is concerned, third generation, fourth generation mobile networks are there, or new Arduino boards are there, Intel boards are there. So those kind of the subjects we have incorporated in the third year curriculum. So we try to always try to be in the parallel with the requirement of the industry. That's why there is very few gap is there in between the industry's technology and the curriculum.
okay. And like, what do you see are the major challenges? So it can be in general, since you have been in education industry since long. So for the education industry as well as for the college specifically. So what are some of the biggest challenges that you see? Uh,
Higher education is facing a lot of challenges
yes.
because day by day new things are coming, and students are having more options if we compare 10 years back. So there are very few branches were there. In paramedical also, there were very few branches were there. MBBS, AMS was there. But right now, multiple branches evolved. Similarly, in engineering also, multiple branches evolved. And parallel to the engineering, now the Institute of Designs evolved. So that is for education, for conventional education, this is the challenge that they must adopt very new things. Those industries already working, so that they can be in a competition as per education industry is concerned. Education also lacks in transparency of the internal processes. Also, the accountability is the major issue. That when we are teaching to a particular student, we must maintain the accountability of teaching the growth of the student. That is lagging in the higher education, because in India the major issue is that staff-student ratio is very much high. In out of the India, for example, if we consider Singapore, then there is a 16:1 ratio is there.
Okay.
So only one staff member is there for 16 students. Here, that ratio is quite huge, 60:1. So if this kind of the ratio is there in the India, then it is quite difficult to teach the student in that quality way. So we are facing a challenge is that government is reducing the staff-student ratio. So it is quite this is a major challenge.
Okay. So since you talked about so many challenges, so what do you think would be Institute's top priority over next 5 years or 10 years down the line?
As per my institute is concerned.
Yes. Like what do you think should be the top priority regarding students, regarding infrastructure, regarding teaching, everything?
As per my 5 years goal is already fixed. My 5 years goal is already fixed. I would like to go for the National Board of Accreditation. This is my first goal. Second goal is I will go for the autonomy. And simultaneously, I would like to concentrate on the training and placement activities in coordination with the nearby industries. So I would like to set a bridge in between the industry and my institution, so that my students can get awareness about the industries. They get knowledge from the industry people directly. So this is one immediate goal for me.
Okay. And so anything that you would like students to know about the institute specifically that the students are not aware of yet? Any specific thing
Okay.
that you would like to mention?
I'm working in Shri Neminath Jain Brahmacharya Ashram organization, and this organization has been established in 1928. So we are completing 100 years. And as
Okay.
per this institution is concerned, Polytechnic institution is concerned, this institution is established in 1983. So around 40 years we are completing now. We have 4 AICT branches. One is a civil engineering branch, computer technology, electronics and telecommunication engineering, and mechanical engineering. And 2 non-AICT courses we are running. First one is dress designing and manufacturing, and second one is interior design and decoration. So our always we are trying to enrich our students by imparting the quality education, and simultaneously we conduct the workshops for them. So within one semester, we have fixed the schedule of conducting 2 workshops. So such 4 workshops we are going to conduct, so that students not only get the information about their curriculum, but they also get some more information which is now used by the industry. So such kind of the practices I have implemented, so that their training and placement activity can be more profound, and they get more exposure to the industry.
Okay. And you have already mentioned some of the extracurricular activities, and now I think because of COVID, a lot of those activities have been suffering. So,
Right.
any extracurricular activities you would like to focus on, which are there right now in the institutes, which help students to expose to real world challenges and cope up with them?
Before COVID, we have organized quiz competitions, project competitions, seminars, paper presentations, and sports activities were also there. In the COVID also, we are running all those activities. Only in the online mode we are doing. We just make one Google form, and we can take the competitions on those Google forms. Or we can take through the Zoom meetings also, we take the quiz competitions, or variety of the competitions we are taking. So we are keep students busy in the variety of the competitions. So there are ample of activities we are doing throughout the year, so that they get busy, and they are not going to be bored only by lectures.
Theoretical part. Yeah, I get it. Okay. And just to wrap it up, this interview with one last question. So, like, any suggestions you would like to give to our current youth and aspiring students who want to enter and who want to enter into the college, as well as in general?
Today's youth is quite vigilant, and today's youth is much more smart than my generation. Only the thing is that if they concentrate on their studies, though it belongs to the theoretical or practical, it would be helpful for them. Now today's youth is spoiling their time in social media like WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook. So instead of wasting their time in these things, if they start reading the contents from the standard books, then it would be helpful for them. And very few students are habitual of reading in today's generation. If they start reading the contents, though it belongs to their curriculum or technical content, they can write from the standard sources like IEEE, Springer, or elsewhere, or foreign publisher or foreign author's book they can read. Reference books, they must be habitual of reading reference books. They get much more knowledge, and it will be helpful for their career, because today's youth is lagging only in this thing that they are spoiling their imagination power. So imagination power is increasing only when they start reading. So this is the only thing.
Yeah. Absolutely. With this note, I would like to end this interview. I think the discussion has been quite insightful, and I'm sure that the students around Maharashtra, around in Nasik region as well as across India, will find this discussion very helpful. And I'd like to thank you for giving your time. I'm sure that you must be busy with a lot of administration work and college work. So I'd like to again thank you for giving us time for conducting this interview. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, Parth, and thank you, College Dunia, also for inviting me to share my views. Thank you. Thank you.